What's up, everybody? Welcome to another week of Q&A. I figured we would take this time to kind of just address some questions that have address any questions you guys have about the new Archetype Cory Wong. Sorry if my camera's a little choppy right now. It's not quite doing what I wanted to do. I've been working on my setup right now. I have a brand new camera hooked up to the Elgato Cam Link over here. I got my all sorts of cool stuff going on. But it looks like it's a little choppy. So hopefully that clears up. I don't know. Let's just move right along. So let's take a look at the chat. Aditya, what's up, dude? He says, oh man, this timing is very hard for us on the other side of the world. And I apologize for that. Unfortunately, there's nothing much that I can do aside from having like an additional stream, maybe a different time of the day where I'm at. I don't know. Would you prefer earlier or later? I don't know. Could potentially happen depending on how these streams turn out. You know, if we get a lot of attention on these things and want to do some more content and, you know, do some cool stuff on here, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Secret Story, what's up, dude? He says, get the funk out. Yeah, I plan to. Let's see. Dan says, I discovered Neural DSP a few months ago and I already bought 6 plugins, but my bank account is not as happy as I am. Well, as long as you're happy, my dude. I think later on he said this Cory Wong stuff is already one of my favorites. I agree. I mentioned it to somebody yesterday that my fingertips are actually kind of sore because I've just been playing on it a lot. Yeah, I've just been having a lot of fun with it. It sounds amazing. And is super easy to dial in. So, yeah, it's cool. It's very cool. I'm glad you dig it. Rift Mania. Just one more note is that I've been like waiting to see how you guys react to this for like months now. For months, I've been like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. It's no more like, you know, we finally branched out into something really cool. Not that the other ones weren't cool, but like, you know, it's different. It's very different. All right. Let's see. Riffmania says, yeah. What's up, dude? Roses Unread says, oh yeah, does it gent? I mean, you can make it gent. You can make anything gent. You know. Yeah. So I definitely, we'll see what we can make happen today. I got my Strandberg over here. I got the telly behind me, and I can pop out probably use my Hoppa 7-string, and we can see what kind of tones we make with this. I've only really been messing around with this on the Strandberg, but I could potentially work on something else as well. So, Roses Unread, yeah, he says, honestly can't wait to try it with my baritone guitars. I run an Archon Live with the gain super, super low and a precision drive in front. Nice, dude. I love the precision drive. I actually have one on my shelf. You guys probably see in the wide angles on some of my videos. Leonardo, what's up, dude? Michael D, how's it going? John McDaniel, good to see you. Mr. Kiami, what's up? Carl, always good to see you, my dude. Let's see. Oh, Aditya says, hey, Steven, just here to say goodnight from India. Also, could you try using the new plugin with an acoustic, maybe? We'll check the video tomorrow. Good night again. I could definitely do that. Yeah, I could absolutely do that. I'll grab my acoustic a little bit later on. Let me go through the chat a little bit more, and then we'll get to the guitar stuff. I think that this one will work really, really well for acoustic instruments. I have that feeling that much the same as how I would use the Archetype Pliny for my acoustic guitars, I'm going to guess that the Cory Wong is going to be absolutely fantastic for acoustic, especially that first head. Now that I think about it, yeah, I think that first head is probably going to do really well because it's meant to sort of recreate an amalgamation of like an SSL and a Neve console. So you got a lot of really great like compression, saturation, and EQ control on that. So anyway. So thank you for that suggestion. I'll do that a little bit later. Let's see. Jonathan Harbour, he says, hey guys, the new Archetype is so sick. I love it. Dude, me too. I'm glad you dig it. I'm kind of curious. So like I've been seeing so many people posting like funk stuff, but like what other tones have you guys been able to get? Like, I mean, if you guys saw my demo earlier today, you saw that I kind of went like funk at the beginning, a little bit more proggy, Steven Wilson-esque towards the middle, and then just kind of like butt rock at the end, like with like a tone that's just like, it was just like straight peanut butter, and I loved it. It was so chunky. It was good. But I'm curious what you guys are finding it to be useful for. I mean, sure, you could probably stretch it into doing like gent and metal and stuff like that. But I'm curious what you guys find are its strengths. Let's see. Nigel, what's up, dude? He says Nigel from MT Productions. Good to see you, man. Roland, always good to see you. Scotty Dog, how's it going? Tom Quayle, what's up, dude? Good to see you. He says, hey guys, absolutely loving the new plugin. It sounds and feels so good to play. My favorite so far. If you guys don't know who Tom Quayle is, he's like a guitar guru. Check out his YouTube channel. You know, like we're not like this is just my personal thing. Like, this has nothing to do with like Neural DSP and our friendship together. Like, I'm just a big fan of his YouTube page, so go check it out. Dude's a monster and really, really great at explaining explaining like guitar concepts and how to apply them to your playing. So if you guys got a second after the Q&A, of course, go check him out. Anyway, oh man. So Mr. Kiyami says, I purchased the Wong Archetype, but I'm on holiday and we'll be home in 2 weeks. Dude, that's a killer 2 weeks. It's good to be on holiday though. I take 3 days usually, and that's all I have time for, unfortunately. But that'll change hopefully very soon. I'd like to get over to Finland actually and visit the guys over there. So, all right. Yeah, Jonathan Harbour says this is the perfect time for me in the UK. That's the problem with these live streams, is that it's going to service some people and not others. You know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon is pretty good for me. That'll put it around 4 o'clock for, you know, people on the East Coast, and then like 7 or 8 hours ahead for, you know, the UK and European nations. So it's, you know, I tried to get my time for the live stream as optimized as possible for everybody. But I appreciate, Aditya, you coming out and hanging out with me anyway, even though it's super late. Nigel says, can't wait to see what they have for bass 2. Do they? If you're asking about upcoming plugins, obviously I can't talk about that. But I know the Quad Cortex is going to have some amazing stuff for bass. And even the Archetype Cory Wong is perfect for bass as well. So I'm really curious to dig into that. It sucks because I actually don't have a bass on me right now. So hopefully I'll be able to rectify that soon. All right, moving on. Matthias, always good to see you. Yeah, Carl says perfect time for streams here in Poland. Very nice. Awesome. I'm glad. All right. Matthias says, what's up, dude? Happy 50th Q&A. Has it been already almost a year of live streaming greatness? Dude, it's weird to think that I have been like working with Neural for now over a year, live streaming for almost a full year. It's really crazy, actually. I never would have expected my life to take this sort of turn. I'm absolutely grateful that it has, obviously. But it's really kind of cool to like look at this and be like, I helped build this. You know, like, you guys have made up the community, and to have taken part in that, I really, really love that. So. Oh, interesting. Ken Ali Guven says, hello, Steven. Your Cory demo YouTube video has Ghostbusters theme licks, isn't it? You know what? It could have been very close. Okay, so I didn't necessarily take it from Ghostbusters. It depends on which lick you're talking about, but there was definitely one one lick that was heavily inspired by. It wasn't that Bruno Mars. It wasn't a Bruno Mars song. It was it was featuring him. That um, don't believe me, just watch. You know, like that sort of like kind of staccato kind of sound. Like obviously it sounds different because it's on a guitar and not horn sections, but like but yeah, like that was heavily inspired by the Bruno Mars. I actually watched a lot of like funk instructional videos. Like this was actually a pretty big stretch for me because I've never pursued funk in my spare time. That's never been like my pursuit. I enjoyed it thoroughly though because I do really like pushing myself and learning new styles and new things. So, but yeah, it was interesting, kind of like learning, taking on like a whole new genre and trying to kind of get like the idioms correct and get those sort of not like tropes as in like a negative thing, like you know, but those like ideas that make funk and trying to incorporate it into things that I already know how to play. So, yeah. But I appreciate you saying that. I mean, honestly, I think that I think that same melody probably is close to the Ghostbusters theme. It's funny because I actually did a Ghostbusters cover on the channel at one point. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, thanks, man. Adichie says, actually, I'm going to stay and watch the live stream. You seriously have a great vibe. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. You rock, dude. Yes, Derek Chambliss. I saw your post, or I saw your comment on the YouTube video. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Says, wasn't familiar with Cory Wong, so didn't know what to expect. Really enjoying the tones I'm getting out of it. I wholeheartedly agree. I have to admit, like, I was introduced to Cory Wong when, you know, we started planning the release of this plugin. Again, I'm not like much of a funk player. In fact, not at all. It's a style that I would probably kind of like pick up a little bit now that I've gotten my toes wet in it. But yeah, this was my introduction to Cory Wong, and I'm really happy that I was able to work on this one, to be able to be a part of this this release. It's nice because I get to learn like new songs, new music. I get to be exposed to like different artists. So I'm really grateful for that. Let's see. All right. Oh yeah, Riffmania says, I wish I didn't sell my telly. Would love to try some country tones, Brad Paisley style. Dude, it's great for that. It's awesome. I don't have a telly here, but I've kind of been messing around with like some kind of chicken picking stuff, and it sounds great. All right, let's figure it out. Okay. Dude, Cory, thanks for dropping in, man. Good to see you. He says Neural DSP nailed it. Dude, absolutely. I couldn't be happier with the way this one turned out. And I couldn't be happier with the response as well, because people have been super positive about it. They've really, really been enjoying it. I've been seeing a lot of clips being put up in the Facebook group, and they all sound amazing. Awesome. Okay, so why don't I just pull out the guitar and we will just hop into Pro Tools. Let's just, again, I'm kind of like futzing with my, with my OBS stream now, right about now. Yeah, Cory says jazz cats are sleeping on this plugin right now. Just wait until the jazz community gets their hands on it. That Clean Machine is going to blow minds. 100% agree. 100% agree, dude. Yeah, Kyle McMurray says, real eye-opener as to what Neural can do. I totally agree. I've seen a couple of comments, and I echo the sentiment that this is going to really, really showcase just the abilities of the quad cortex. That and you know, some people are kind of Scotty Dog says, no pressure, Steven. Cory is watching you. Yeah, no, it's my hands are shaking. You know. Yeah, Adichie says that Strandberg Classic is made for this. Agreed. Matthias asks, how long does it usually take to make a new Archetype plugin from the first contact with the artist till the release date? Just curious. I think I don't know particularly the details. Again, I don't really get made aware of the plugins until they're already like in the process of being made, and I'm sure it probably depends on the artists and the people that we have to essentially please, because that's going to be really dependent on what they're looking for. But anyway, so let's go ahead, see if this works. I'm trying to get my setup looking fresh for you guys. So I'm trying something a little fancy right now, because I got multiple cameras now. I got my phone, I got the Logitech, I got the Blackmagic camera. It's awesome. Anyway, you guys probably don't care, and that's okay. Oh shit. Let's get my chat up here. Yeah, not just Cory Wong, also Tom. Yeah, dude. Dude, we got some powerhouse players in here, dude. That's awesome. I love it. Let's make sure that this is all good. I'm just gonna close that out. Okay. All right. Let me know. You guys hearing sound all right? And you guys didn't hear any of that talking. I got to get better about the muting shit. Okay, so can you set multiple expression parameters to a single expression pedal? That is a very, very good question. Let's try it out. So right now, let's go ahead and pull up the MIDI map. So I just recorded the component breakdown yesterday. So I ended up actually mapping all of this stuff to individual buttons. So that way I could just use my MIDI board to like quickly go through the different presets and turn things on and off that I wanted to showcase. So I got all of this set up. And my wah is set to my expression pedal here. So just for shits and or giggles, let's see if I can put, let's see, what is that on? CC Absolute, Wong, number 7. Okay. Let's try doing this. CC Absolute. Oh, you know, it'd be actually kind of cool. Let's see if I can do the wash mix. CC number 27. Channel 2. The wash mix. So I should be seeing the wah pedal moving like this. And my dry wet. So that's to answer your question. You can have multiple components attached to MIDI. That sounds kind of cool. All right, let me get rid of that because I don't need it. So yeah, to answer your question, you can absolutely do that. Nice. Okay, Tom, thank you for that that suggestion. That's actually a really good thing. I'll have that set up for next time. That'll be really, really great. Yeah, if you want to do a tutorial, I'll share that on my personal Facebook and get that up in the Neural DSP page. That'd be great. Matthias says, dude, you're so 2020 with all your different camera angles and fancy windows. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Okay, so let's go back to Orangey. Aren't you glad I didn't say banana? So this was just like straight butt rock riff. It's, man, like I love the Big Rig Overdrive. This like just pumped up really gets an amazing saturation because there's a difference between saturation of the overdrives here. Like this one's definitely like super chunky and like I don't know how quite to describe it, where like the tuber is a little bit more silky, with the Big Rig overdrive is more chunky. So you get like chunk and the silk together. It sounds pretty cool too. I did mess around originally with the drive switch to get that same kind of effect, but I found that it wasn't really getting that same style of breakup and distortion I was getting with the overdrive or the Big Rig. Right, so that's without. So it's all just like a little bit of difference, a little bit of like flavor inflection that really works for that context. Ancient Mariner, good to see you, man. Steven said, he says, Steven, that was a sick demo video, by the way. Loved it. Thanks, dude. I really had so much fun with that one. As I've said earlier in the stream, I'm not a funk player. I'm really not. And this was my first kind of like pass over into it, which it was super fun. It was super fun. I really got to like stretch myself, learn some new licks, and oh my God, like seriously trying to emulate. I'm looking at the wrong camera too. Trying to emulate that right hand technique of of Cory is stupid. Like, because you know, like I'm not strictly a metal player, but getting that to have that same amount of power was really difficult, and I had to work on that for a while before I could even like start to record. Okay, so Alexander Smirnov asks, how do you use mono stereo switch in your plugins? Okay, so what this essentially does is this turns your input from mono to stereo. So if I had two DI tracks, I could actually route them to a singular instance on a bus. Hard pan your DIs left and right, by the way. But I could have the left and right channel going to a single instance that's on a bus, and then it would stereo, like it would treat each DI separately with the same effects. So that's how you would do it. Or you could have maybe a stereo instrument, like if you had an organ or something like that, or some sort of synth that's in stereo that you wanted to process through this plugin, then you could use that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Danny Perry, what's up? Nice. Dan says, yeah, Going Postal is one of my favorite presets of yours. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Evgeny says, hi, Cory's plugin is a breath of fresh air. We want Neural DSP plugins for solo guitarists, Satriani, Vi plugins, please. We'll see what happens, you know? Danny Perry says, I'm a proud user of Neural products. Nice. Good to know. So, you guys got questions, I got answers. What you want to know? Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going through my presets. Let's see. I mean, like, I was actually having a lot of fun with this particular preset. Sort of a John Mayer-esque. So I was having a good time with this. Thanks, man. Yeah, Danny says the single coil blues tone is perfect. Thank you. Really appreciate you saying that. Nice. Michael D says, just keep going through the presets. Mr. Kiami just simply says quad cortex. Sound check says good stuff. Okay. I don't know about any quad cortex updates. I know that you guys, I mean, honestly, you'll be seeing stuff from us very, 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 very soon. Again, I'm not sure exactly what the timeline is on getting my own version of the quad cortex, but once that happens, you know you guys are going to see a ton of stuff from me. So Ancient Mariner says, I haven't messed around too much with this one yet, but I think single coil is the way to go with this one. Yes and no. Yes and no, because I think that this plugin is super versatile, but I don't think that it's going to be solely a one-trick pony, right? Like, okay. Cory says, I want to hear how you use the presets I made. The man asks, I shall deliver. All right, let's just start. I don't know. This is nice. Okay, so he's got the clean machine going. What impulse response? Ribbon 160 instead of the 121. I really like that the default impulse response mic is the 121. I found that it just sounds great. I kind of want the... dope. It's got a really nice, warm, low end to it. Let's keep on going. I definitely love the amp snob on this. It's got this great low end to it, pushed by this the master volume control. Comic Sans. Again, another. How you guys digging this so far? Enrico, what's up, dude? Yeah, Chase McCutcheon says no pressure at all. You know what, dude? Like, I know Cory's a good dude. I haven't met him personally, but you know, I got a good feeling. I don't think that he's judging me at all. So I don't really feel much pressure at the moment. Enrico says, what caps are these IRs made from? How is Steven today? Steven is really good, man. Little sleepy, but all good. All good, man. Jonathan Harbor says, this is cool. What pickups are in the guitar? Okay, so this guitar is fitted with the prototype pickups. Strandberg is working with Michael Franks, and this is a prototype model of what would be like, I think it's like a 59 PAF, I think, or something like that. But Michael Franks made the signature pickups for oh my god, I'm spacing. I'm so terrible with names. Look up Michael Franks. You'll see what I'm talking about. Dramatic Chromatic says Legator in the house. Nice. Yeah. Dude, we got some good people in here. I love this. All right. Let's keep going with some of these tones real quick. So let's check out some of the session sounds. East LA, I'm down. I haven't had a chance to really go through all of these presets, so I have no idea what I'm walking into. Nice. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. What does Jerry sound like? I absolutely love the envelope filter. I don't know if anybody else feels like this when they put on an envelope filter. It just makes you want to like... it's so much fun. Okay. Lead strat. Let's try lead strat. I love that one. That one's really, really nice. Okay. I love... Okay. Like, seriously, I was doing this for like 20 or 30 minutes when I first got this plugin, was just making like weird cinematic, like just pushing like the dry wet up to like max and just fucking around. Oh my gosh. Okay, no joke. Honestly, like the shimmer button by itself is worth the price of admission. So I'm having so much fun with this one. Oh, yes. Yeah, Matt Stabler says, I literally discovered discovered Cory's music by this popping up on my YouTube feed. Loving the tones. Not usually my cup of tea, but sounds great as usual. Thanks, man. Dude, I mean, like, honestly, this plugin is amazing. I'm so stoked on this one. Awesome. Nice, nice. Yeah, Baris Beneath says, I tried this plugin's shimmer feature with the Abbas's DI blend thing. Sounds cool. Yeah, Baris Beneath says, if anyone has Sustainiac pickup, it's really cool to use this special atmosphere preset with it. Recommended. I agree. This is very, very cool. All right, let's take a look at some of the other ones. Let's take a look at DI Shimmer. Again, that shimmer's just coming through. So nice. Celestial Dot. Is that a reference to Carl Sagan? So I'm just working my way through the chat. I don't have it up on my screen all the time, so just making my way back up. Okay. Really digging the delay on this. Let's go to dual. I kind of like, so I've been really having a lot of fun with making some like syncopated kind of stuff. Legator Guitars, thanks, man. Says, wow, that sounds great. So Aditya, the thing that I can think of between, he asks, what's the difference between dual and ping pong? Well, I can tell you the difference between this particular delay pedal is the fact that you can choose, like this is a true stereo delay where you get to choose the metric of your left and right. Being able to choose between eighth notes and quarter notes, so you can change actually the groove. Eighth note dotted. is going to be a lot different than being just having a stereo delay that's just going like. I would imagine probably what the answer is. Your stereo delays on previous plugins is just like having an eighth note on one side, quarter note on the other. So that way it just kind of ping pongs back and forth. Whereas this one you actually get to choose the timing on the left and the right, which actually is kind of cool because you get to be a little bit more dynamic with your playing in that sense. Okay. Miguel Owls, this is just standard tuning. They sent me one with the trem style bridge. So I've not really messed around with tossing this in alternate tuning. So I've just had this in its standard E tuning for pretty much the entire time I've had it. I kind of, and on top of that, I've also been trying to challenge myself to write, music not relying on lower tunings to get additional kind of textures. I find that keeping myself to these 6 strings has actually been really interesting in constricting my playing and allowing me to fill out other parts of the composition with other instruments instead of the guitar. So it's kind of like a personal thing, but yeah, it's just an E standard. Aw, Ike, thanks, man. Ike says, I'm not even planning on buying this right now, but these jams are so soothing. I appreciate that, man. Mr. Kiami says, honestly, it's really cool to see you, Steven, play other genres other than Chugga Chugga, and I feel this plugin makes you think creatively and inspires by the sound and the tones and the possibility. 100% yes. I can't tell you how happy I was to play something other than metal. Not that I don't love metal, but I have always been a person who has been fascinated by multiple styles. I've spent time learning some gypsy jazz. I've spent time learning some country licks, blues, rock, jazz. Like I love getting into those other styles. So far the plugins we've come out with have sort of been constrictive. And not only that, but people also kind of expect a certain style from some of these plugins. So I, have to, in some cases, cater to that expectation. If you guys, for anybody who's been hanging out in the live streams, that I play other things than metal, and I really enjoy doing that. Like, honestly, this sort of introspective stuff that I've been just kind of messing around with on the live streams, that's really what I love to do. Like, I love metal. I had a metal band. I'll probably be coming out with an instrumental metal album at some point in the future because I still have that whole album on my hard drive just waiting to be re-recorded and mixed and everything. But yeah, so as I've so the only country lick that I know really know off the bat, Jerry. That's the only real country lick that I know, and that's because that took me so long to get down because of this chicken picking aspect of it. That's pretty much it. Yeah, Ancient Mariner says, no, I'm glad you guys are branching out. Exciting stuff. I agree, man. I agree. We're what I think it was Conor McGregor who said, we're not here to take part, we're here to take over. And though I've lost favor with Conor McGregor because he's kind of a dick now, I totally am on that train. Neural DSP is not taking part. We are here to take over, and I couldn't be more excited to be a part of it. Paul JP Davis asks, Will we see a neural DSP FRFR or speaker with built-in IR loader or something? I mean, let's face it, the future of modeling and digital amps for gigging is in neural DSP's hands now. That's a really interesting yeah, that, I mean, potentially. I don't know if that's happening. Like, legitimately, I'm kind of like, I've probably mentioned this on several live streams before, but there's like certain things that they keep so close to the chest that I don't even know what's going on. So it's kind of cool. All right. So we're getting down to the last couple of minutes of the live stream, and let's go ahead and put in some last questions or requests, or if there's something that you want me to check out on this particular plugin, or if you have questions for Cory, if he's still on the live stream. Let's make sure that we get these last few minutes to count. Yeah, Aditya. Okay, so Aditya answered the reply. So he says, oh, it's like using 2 delays for left and right track. Yeah, essentially. It's more that you just get to choose the amount of time, like the measurement of time between left and right. So that way you can kind of control what the groove is of the particular delay style. Whether you want it to be straight or triplet or kind of like a syncopated, like 2 against 3 vibe, 3 against 4 vibe, that sort of thing. Cory Wong says that nameless plugin is insane too. Agreed. That was actually the plugin that got me into neural in the first place. I downloaded a trial. I had actually just moved to Los Angeles. I was pursuing my goal of becoming an audio engineer, and I had just gotten to LA, was working on some mixes and stuff, doing some like prep work and some, just trying to build up my clientele. And friends of mine were having me do a test mix for them, and they wanted me to check out this nameless. And I'd heard the Dark Glass before, but because I'm not a bass player, I hadn't really checked it out. But the nameless popped up in my feed, and I was like, sure. Like, they asked me to try it out, so I grabbed the trial, and I ended up buying it like 5 minutes after I downloaded it, because I just slapped it on the tracks, and I was like, this is good. I don't need to do anything with this. Ooh, Alex Forrest says Archetype Nick Jonas. I mean, it depends on if it comes with his guitar playing talent or not. Nah, I'm kidding, but whatever. Sure, yeah. No, Ike says, don't get me wrong, this sounds awesome, nice and versatile. And a little different, and I just might have some use for it in the fall. Now, busy making the most out of the Abasi and the Granifier. Dude, yeah, I mean, like, that's why the trials are there. I think, it's, because I watched Cory's live stream the other day, and he said it. He's like, if you don't want to buy it, you don't want to buy it. That's cool. Like, it's one of those things where I get it if you hold off on buying this plugin because it's not what you need in the moment. Like, I'm here to show you its strengths. I'm here to show you what it can possibly do for you and your tones. But yeah. Dan says Archetype Stephen Ward. I haven't, like, some people have been asking me recently, like, what would your archetype be? I have no clue. I have no clue whatsoever. To be very, very honest, I was not super gear nerd heavy before working with neural. Dude, no worries. Cory Wong says, sorry, I was making some mix tweaks for a friend. I've got a roll. Thanks y'all for digging into this plugin, and Steven, thanks for showcasing all the features. My pleasure, dude. Yeah, I'm glad you stuck in. I'm glad you hung out for the live stream. It really, really makes a difference, and I appreciate you hanging out with us, and for making such a great plugin for us. This is great. I mean, like, I get to enjoy and benefit from this just as much as any other user. So I love it. Miguel Owls says, hey man, quick question. So in my room, I pick up a bad interference, so that gives me a high-end hiss frequency. Any tips? I mean, it depends on where it's coming from. So, you know, RFI is just the bane of my existence. It's awful. I hate it. It's the worst. You can, I mean, like, there's a couple of different things. I mean, like, a DI box will break up a ground loop if that's the case. You could try moving around the room, or you could try plugging your stuff into different outlets. It really depends, because it could be so many different things. Like if you have LED lights in the room, that could potentially be making some interference. Dimmer switches are problematic. Okay, Miguel says it's the power line outside. Yeah, man, there's not really much you could do about that. Potentially try out a DI box to break the ground loop if that's problematic. Otherwise, record in a different environment and then do all your mixing in your room. Like, that's something that I've done in the past before. I was working on an album several years ago, and my room was terrible. It had so much radio frequency interference that I had to, like, I would sit with my laptop on my couch, because I found the one place in my room, in the one position, that I could record in, and it was something like this, where I had a laptop in front of me, I had my guitar on one leg, and I would record like this. And the reason why I had to continue looking at the screen is because I had just written the album, so I was like sight reading it as I was recording, and going from there. So it wasn't very fun. Essentially, it became tenable when I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go somewhere else and record there. Even if it's just taking your laptop to a room that's as far away from the power lines as possible, that could be potentially, beneficial for you. Yeah, Joaquin says, any info about Archetype Nolly update? Really missing the MIDI mapping feature. Sorry, I think I cut myself off right there. So there's a couple of things that you can do about the power line issue, but not a ton. Especially if it's just the power line and you're just too close to it. Like, no amount of Furman power conditioning is going to take that out of your signal, because it's actually getting into your pickups and not just a feature of your system. So best of luck. Try anything and everything, though. I mean, like, you never know what's going to work. You never know if just moving your outlet, moving where you plug it into the outlet on the other side of the wall might help. Try everything, but don't be surprised if you end up having to just record elsewhere. Yeah. Oh, Aditya. Okay. I did promise Aditya to try out the acoustic. So let's go ahead and do that real quick before we call it a day. Okay. So now that I got through all of my grunting and man noises, let's go ahead, open this up. I'm gonna, oh man, let's turn that down. There. Let's make sure this isn't blowing you guys' ears out. Okay. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. I'm just gonna mess around with a couple of things real quick because I want to try the shimmer out on this as well as maybe a little bit of delay. Let's actually let's go to something. Let's just start from scratch. Okay, default. I want to try the amp snob first. Let's make sure that the blend. Okay, this. Leave that off. I'm gonna pull down the master because I feel like that would probably be a little too much for the acoustic because it's already pretty warm as is. Let's pull up the tone knob. Okay. Okay. Just looking through the chat. Oh, nice. Adichie says the mic is giving good input. Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to make sure that you guys heard only what was being processed by the plugin. I mean, the DI Funk console could definitely fit acoustic application. Yeah, let's try it out. Fuck it. I got time. I don't, but I'll give it a shot. It's definitely hard because I hear a lot of the actual guitar more so than I'm hearing the signal. So this is interesting. It's challenging, but yeah, let's keep going. I don't know. What's your guys' opinions on that? I think it sounds pretty awesome. Awesome. Cool. Well, now that I've taken care of that, let's go ahead and go back to my normal look. It's my face. Okay. So let's go ahead and start wrapping things up. If you guys have any very last minute questions, I got a couple of minutes, but I need to get going pretty quick. I got some chores I need to do, some things I need to take care of. So, yeah, Mr. Kiabi says it sounded great. You retracted that? Okay. Guess it didn't sound great. I was kidding. All right. So Joaquin asks, that acoustic sounds absolutely amazing. Could you explain how the fourth position compressor works? I mean, I get something from the name, but not completely getting its purpose. In what context? So, I mean, like, because the fourth position compressor is like a name. It's kind of like a trope. But basically, like, it has, like, I don't know if you're asking about like the compressor itself or the function of it or why it's called the fourth position compressor. So maybe elaborating on that very quickly would help. Yeah, I've seen your question, my dude. Evgeny says Satriani vibe may be old, or he's asking about getting Satriani or Vi an archetype. Again, I can't really talk about those sorts of things. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. You know, as I mentioned before, I generally don't hear about these things until it's like, hey, in 2 months we're going to be doing this thing, and I'm like, sweet, I'm on board. So, I don't know if that's happening. Sorry. Plus, I like these things being more of a surprise to you guys anyway. It's more fun for me, you know. Ooh, yeah. Ike says, wow, these acoustic tones make me want to reinvestigate Hawaiian slack tunings. Those are some of my favorites, dude. Like slide guitar, there's nothing better than a good slide guitar. Um, it's one of those instruments that can go very badly very quickly because if you get a bad player on a slack guitar, it's really bad. Just because when you're sliding, you have to be like on, like your intonation has to be perfect. But anyway. Okay, so Mr. Kiami asks, Cory mentioned in a live stream tuner was special. Is it? I mean, is there a difference between the plugins? As far as accuracy, I don't know personally. Um, I know that Cory was very exacting in his demands on this plugin. Like he wanted it to be absolutely perfect for you guys. Um, I mean, and why not? You know, it's got to represent his brand. You know, and I think it does a great job at doing just that. It could be that the tuner, like, it could be that we took our tuner and just updated it for this particular plugin or made improvements. Because I did use it for a split second and I did notice that it was less jumpy than previous ones. But I imagine that that tuner will then be back updated to the other plugins as well. So, okay. So Joaquin follows up with his question. I'm not sure exactly which compressor it's modeled off after, but he's asking. I was talking more about what sound you're looking to achieve with this compressor. Um, the thing that I noticed with this particular compressor is that, and the thing that I love about it is that it has a blend knob. Being able to mix your compressed signal with your dry signal is really great, especially at retaining dynamic information. Like, like something that's used very regularly in mixing like drum tracks, for example, is what's called parallel compression, where you send your drum, like a snare, you send your snare over to a compressor, and this compressor is basically just smashing the absolute fuck out of your snare. But basically what it's doing is retaining the dynamic information of the original snare, but supplementing it or augmenting it with that more compressed version of the snare. So basically you still have that pop of the original signal, but the ringing out is what's being retained, right? So like if you listen to snares, it goes pa, or maybe if like, you know, you hit it pat, pat, pat. But when you add that parallel compressed, it's like that pa, pa, like you get that ring out and that tail end to it. It's similar to this compressor is that you have the blend knob and you can blend in a compressed version of your signal, so that way you can still have those really picky dynamic moments, but you still have the note information afterwards gets raised up in the signal. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that explanation helps. Piotr asks, how will this compare sound quality wise for Neural DSP plugins and Cortex, the Quad Cortex? How does this? I'm gonna. Okay, so I'm gonna guess that you're saying, how does this compare in sound quality to previous Neural DSP plugins and the Quad Cortex? I mean, they're all kind of in the same ecosystem, so I think that obviously the previous plugins have great quality to them. This one also has great quality to it. It's a very different beast as well, so it's hard to compare the two together, but I feel like this is probably the most dynamic of the plugins that we've used thus far. How it's going to be compared to the Quad Cortex, and this is actually to Geonosis and Co. Question, because he asks how much of this will be creatable in the Quad Cortex. Yeah, so much of what is in this plugin strikes me as features I would expect to find in the unit, he says. So, okay, Aditya, good night, man. I thank you so much for hanging out, man. I appreciate you losing sleep to hang out on this stream. It means the world to me. Yeah, Joaquin, that's just I'll get to the quad cortex question real quick, but I want to respond to Joaquin real quick. Says thanks for your response. Never thought of parallel compressing clean guitars before. And yeah, but like that's sort of what it is, right? Like you have, let's go back to my, let's see, Pro Tools, Logitech. There you go. I don't know. My camera's somewhere. Anyway, let's just look at this real fast, and not have my beautiful face on the screen for just a moment. But yeah, so the blend knob is basically, you can have your blend knob set to like this here at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So you're kind of blending in a little bit of compression, but you could smash your signal just to get that nice sustain ringing out over it. Personally, I like the default settings, having like, 50% compression, so you get this nice amount of sustain. Having the blend knob somewhere around 50%, so that way you're kind of like, you're not taking away any of the initial snap of your strings. You're only augmenting, obviously you're augmenting the snap, but you're also augmenting that note information that's after the initial transient. So yeah, so that's kind of the way I think about it. So, okay, but to go back to the quad cortex question. So these, as promised, of course, I mean, like we have promised this in the past, that any neural DSP plugins you have will be ported over eventually to the quad cortex in an update. So you'll have like access to your account and be able to then use these on as individual blocks in your signal chain. So if you wanted to use the postal service with the Archetype Plini's second head onto the Archetype Nolly's second cabinet to the Bossie's Pathos pedals. I mean, like these are just like examples, but like you'll be able to use all of these pieces as individual blocks and be able to recreate all of this stuff on the quad cortex. So yeah, so that hopefully that answers your question. I'm guessing Kyle McMurray says the quad cortex is still going to meet its release date with all the Corona stuff, right? And yes, we are still on schedule. That is all. That's been, personally spoken to the company by Doug, the owner, that everything is on schedule. Everything, we're still meeting all of our deadlines. Everything looks good. Everything looks to be on schedule, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait for these things to ship. But yeah, so why don't we just go ahead and close it up for today? Again, apologies about the choppy camera. I'm still working out some of the kinks on this. I have to unplug and plug this thing back in a dozen times just to get this thing to look right and smooth. I don't know why. But anyway, that is neither here nor there. That is my own personal problems. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and let's go ahead and call it a day then. Let's see. Yeah, Kyle McMurray says game on. I love it. I love it. Thank you all so much for hanging out. It was great to have Cory in here. It was great to have Tom Quayle in here. Those two being absolutely monster guitar players and me not, but I appreciate them hanging out anyway. Aaron, okay, very quickly, Aaron D'Souza says tips for getting a fuller sound. It depends on what you mean by fuller sound, but you could bump the master volume control up so that way you get more saturation and warmth out of it. You could push the signal into your head with an overdrive pedal. EQ is definitely a big thing. Reverb, delays, all of these things are options, but I would definitely start with the master volume control and pushing that so you can get a little bit more warmth, a little bit more low end out of your Sims. But yeah, okay, cool. So thank you so much for hanging out. This has been awesome. I really love being able to do these things, and I'm going to continue to work on my setup and try and make this as cool a live stream as you guys can possibly hope for. Nice. Chunk O'Connor says, thanks, man. Got to try my Takamine acoustic with the Archetype Cory Wong now. I'm happy I could help inspire that, dude. Honestly, actually, like to those people who are still hanging out, I'm curious if you guys are interested in seeing me try to do a full mix with only the Archetype Cory Wong's DI Funkhead, because as I mentioned before, that one's based off of SSL and Neve channel strips. So if that's something you guys are interested in seeing me challenge myself to do, let me know. I'd be down for it. You know, I think that would be fun. I think it would be interesting thing to experience, and try and push myself not to use the same tools that I've always been comfortable with. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Tag me on Facebook or whatever. If you guys got music you're working on and you want to share it, throw it up in the Facebook group. Tag me in it. I want to see it. And thank you all for hanging out on another week of Q&A. We're coming up on number 52. So I've been doing this for a year in like 2 weeks. So I'm super stoked on that. Maybe hopefully I'll try and do something interesting or fun. Okay, cool. I'm seeing a couple of yeses to my proposition. Awesome. Good to see, man. Probably I'll do that mix on a live stream, just because that would be too long to put in a single video. So we'll probably see that on a live stream, and you'll see the announcements as well. And yeah, let's go ahead and call it a day. So thank you all again so much for hanging out with me. This is always so much fun. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.